What's up, guys? Welcome to part 4 of my WoW Remastered series. So in this video it's mostly going to be Vox or voiceover additions, but I'm also going to talk about some other general changes that I've done, and hopefully I don't repeat anything from my previous video, but I think I have it all listed out of just the stuff that's new to go over. And some of this voiceover stuff I'm going to have to wait for specific moments to be able to get the player to talk, but for the most part it should be pretty easy, and yeah, let's just get started. So the first thing is that I've added some voiceover for the player downing and getting revived. It's a little bit different than the original game. So I'm in solo, but I can just luckily buy quick revive because in my mod I have solo quick revive, but this is the same as in co-op. So if I was in co-op and I went down, it would be the exact same. So let's just kill ourselves with a grenade, and you'll hear it. So you could hear it right there. Nikolai was like, "Come back, Nikolai can still fight," and then we get revived.
About fucking time.
And so, and there we go. He said it, you know, about time. Some of the quotes obviously fit better in co-op. You know, like when someone, when one of the characters says something like referring to another player, reviving them, like I don't know, like next time get here quicker. I think some of them have said that. But like I'm not gonna bother changing that for solo. I think it's just kind of a funny little quirk, you know. Like when you're on solo, sure, some of the dialogue fits co-op a little bit more, but Treyarch never like did that. I think in Black Ops 1 they had the downing voiceover, and it was the same like situation where you would sometimes get quotes that referenced co-op, but it didn't really make sense in solo. So I'm gonna keep that as is. I kind of like it, and I kind of like just having all of the quotes in the pool. And actually, so I have so many things to talk about. So we're gonna restart again, actually, and just go back over here. So continuing with this, when I killed myself with a grenade, this is one thing I just want to really quickly go over. And when you go into Last Stand again, this is for co-op as well. If you kill yourself with a grenade, you don't create another grenade. You see how I'm holding it still? It's a World at War quirk, but then I release and there's no extra grenade. So normally you would actually throw a second grenade and it would appear. And like it would just be a grenade out of thin air. So now that's fixed. And then there's another thing I want to talk about too. Oh yeah, so the voiceover when you get revived is obviously in the original game in co-op. It just never worked on solo quick revive when you got revived, because just the way I had it set up. But I fixed it, and the difference is that in the original game you could only hear a selection of, I think it was either 2 or 3, I think it was 2, just quotes over and over. So they would only choose between 1 or 2 quotes, or like one of the other quotes when you'd get revived. So Dempsey would always be saying like the same thing, like "must have slipped, oorah," like over and over every time he gets revived. And so in this mod is different. They had in the game files plenty of other lines. I think there's like 5-ish for each character. I'm not sure completely. Whoops. And so now all of those are available. So again, the voiceover for "As You Down" is new. That was not in World at War at all. Yeah, let's wait for that. Okay. Let's hear it. So yeah, it's a little bit quieter too because you go into Last Stand, and the grenade explosion sound kind of drowns it out. But normally you're not dying from a grenade, so that won't happen. But
Hey, just taking a little nap.
yeah, so right there you heard Dempsey, "Hey, just taking a little nap." That's a new quote that's not normally in the game, even though in the normal game you already do get that revived quote. Like a quote when you're revived, you don't get just this specific new ones that I've added, which is cool. So I always like adding unused stuff into the game. Now, I've kind of rambled on about that quite a bit, so let's see what else is next. Okay, so another cool thing is, let's go back over here, I guess. If I give myself an LMG, if you have an LMG, either the MG42, well, okay, heavy LMG, so not like the FG42, but if you have the MG42, the Browning, or the Type 99, which are all like the heaviest MGs, then the player will sometimes save reloading when you reload, because, well, number one, it actually helps the players, like in co-op. You know, MGs take a while to reload, so it's kind of, you know, nice that your teammates will know for a second you're reloading. And then also just because it's cool, honestly, it was unused, it was in the sound alias, but they never worked it in, and obviously it would be way too repetitive if a player was saying reloading every time, because there's only one reload voiceover line. And so I've made it so, yeah, it's just on these heavy MGs where the reloads are the longest out of all the guns, and then also there is a cooldown on it, so if I go again, it's not going to do it. It's like between 2 to 4 minutes, so basically It's more like when you're camping and shooting a lot, and then, you know, a couple minutes later you're going to reload or whatever, it'll play the voiceover again, so it's not going to just spam you. And then also, even more so, you do only have a 50% chance of playing it, because it's not going to say it every single time you reload, even if you are waiting that 2 minutes. So there we go. Like, I don't know if you could hear it because I was talking. Sorry, I'll do it again. I gotta wait for...
I think we need to turn the power on. Reloading.
There we go. So you hear that. Yeah, so with those two factors, it's not going to be spamming you with reloading, because again, it is the one voiceover line. There's not multiple to choose from, so it could get very repetitive really quickly, especially in later rounds. That's why I have those two factors in place. And yeah, so that's it for reloading. Let's see. So I've also added Pain Vox and Exert Vox. So this is kind of inspired by Black Ops 2, but it was always in the game files in World at War. As always with actually all of these sound Vox changes, I want to clarify that all of the voiceovers were already in the game. I did not actually have to add anything custom, so I'm sort of just unearthing stuff that was already there that Treyarch decided to exclude. Possibly they wanted to exclude it to save it for future maps, or they wanted to save some of the dialogue. I don't know. I don't know what I was gonna say, but just save the dialogue for other stuff where they didn't want it in because there's gonna be too much dialogue. So I don't know, but I kind of like adding in all back this stuff just to flesh out the map. So I'll go ahead and show it off. So now when the player gets hit, there's a 75% chance or so of them like sort of grunting. So there's one, and see, it doesn't happen every time. It's only, like I said, about 75% of the time, and that's just to make it less repetitive. I don't want it to happen literally every time they get hit. And luckily there's a large pool of sound, so it's not going to get too repetitive, I think. Yeah, so and actually it's cool. Some of the characters have like more unique ones. Like, you know, Richtofen will say like 9 sometimes, you know, when he gets hit. Just stuff like that, but it's all integrated in pretty well. And there also is one other fix I had to do with that. So when you do down, you'll play, well, we can just do it, I guess, here. You'll play that the pain sound, and there's like a small fraction of a second just that I added of a wait so that the Vox for when you die or go into last stand doesn't immediately play, and you're not like grunting and playing that sound at the same or talking at the same time, because that would obviously not make sense. Make one sound at a time like that. Anyway, so now we can get into the exert sound effect. So let's just get some zombies coming out here. Okay. So you can hear it there. When you knife a zombie, the player will sort of make a grunt sound. And this happens 75% of the time when you're damaging a zombie. And when you kill a zombie, it'll always play it unless it plays like a voiceover, like dialogue line. So I'll explain that a little bit more. Basically, right now, the zombies are just one-hit knives, so it's always going to do the sound. Unless, I mean, there's some discrepancies. Like if a character talked recently, there's obviously cooldowns on voiceover. Like I was explaining with the previous edition, the characters aren't going to say two types of dialogue at the same time, so it's not going to play it every time technically, but if there's no other voiceover playing, they will always grunt when they kill a zombie. But then now we got 2-hit knives, so this first hit is just damaging the zombie, and it's going to be about 75% chance. So I can just sort of show off this. Okay. Good job on me dying, but you know, you're getting that idea anyways. And what I meant also by saying that sometimes the voiceover won't play, or the what's it called, the exert sound won't play if you kill a zombie and you do a voiceover. So what that means is if you say you have the Bowie knife, there's I think it's like a 25% chance of saying a Bowie knife like special dialogue line. If you get that, then you're not going to play the exert sound, like that sound that you just heard there, because obviously the player's going to be talking. And so same thing if you have insta-kill, you're not going to do the sound because they have their special insta-kill voiceover lines. So yeah, that's pretty much it, I think, for the exerts and the pain sounds. I'm pretty rusty on making these type of videos, to be honest, so I'm kind of just taking longer to explain things than I probably need to. But that's going to be it for that. Let's move on. Next up, what have we got? So I've added some more unused lines for when a player picks up a Carpenter. So I can't really show this unless I get one, but there's just some funny ones, you know, with all the characters making little jokes when they get a Carpenter. And I don't know, for some reason, they didn't include all of them. If I do get a Carpenter, I'll hope to be able to show that in this game, but yeah, we'll just put that on the back burner for now. Okay, what else? So I've reworked the no money sounds for weapons and perks, so I'm going to need to just get rid of my points here quickly. Okay, so we'll start with wall weapon. Okay, so now when you go up to a wall weapon, normally it would just play the reject sound. So there's that little like sound effect when you try to buy something and it doesn't let you. I think all of you know what that sort of sounds like. And then it also will play just a grunt from the player. So I'll do an example. Well, I don't know if it's going to do that, but that's how it was in the original game. And so now what I've done is I've added in one new unused voiceover line. Unfortunately, like I said, there's only one to choose from, but they'll have a % chance of saying that line when you try to buy a weapon and you don't have enough points. But since it would be repetitive if you just pressed F every single time and they said the same line over and over and over, I've now just sort of, you know, varied the percents. So let's see. Wall weapons, yeah, you have a chance of saying an unused Vox line, the standard Vox groan, or nothing. So I'll just do a couple tests of that. And again, just when you're in a normal game, well, not again, I haven't said this yet, but when you're in a normal game, you're not going to go up and like spam F on something. You're just going to try to buy it once or twice and then leave. So that's why I've done the percents, or I've set them up with like accounting for that. So it just sort of, every time you run up to a weapon you don't have enough points, it's going to do something slightly different. And yeah, let's see. Okay, so there's a grunt.
I will just kill them all with my hands.
And there's the voiceover line.
I will just kill them
Okay,
all
and
with my
there it
hands.
is again. So it can happen multiple times, but like I said, you're not going to be running up to the and spamming F. Okay, and there's another grunt. There's nothing. There's nothing.
I will just kill
And
them
yeah,
all
so you
with
get the
my
idea.
hands.
So that's pretty much what happens. Now, as for perks, in the original game, it did something similar. You would try to buy a perk, it would play the perk reject sound, and then they would just say, I need more money first. And that was really repetitive. That was the exact problem I was talking about just a second ago, that every single time you pressed F on a perk, they would say the same thing. And so now I've added in the same thing where you can either get the groan or the like just no Vox. So there's nothing. Okay, let's wait for him to stop talking about ammo.
I require
Okay,
more
so there we
money.
go. He requires more money.
I require more money.
Okay, and again, like they can say it's multiple times in a row because it's just random, but there's a groan.
I require more
Yeah, so you get the idea. It just varies it up slightly. It's just the intent is so that when you just randomly try to buy something, maybe you'll do it once or twice in the game. Just hopefully, you know, you won't get the same exact thing those 2 times. It's like very rare that you're going to be spamming F or going up to things you don't have enough points for, but that's really pretty much the intent. Now, the other change, or the last change for that, is now on the box. It's the same concept. When you go up to the box, you can either get a new unused voiceover line that's specific to the box. You can either get just the grunt sound, or you can get no voiceover sound. And then also, I decided just for fun, I might as well use the wall weapon sound too here, because this is also for a weapon. So they can also say that wall weapon voiceover line that I played earlier. And then this is the new thing too. When you try to buy it, no matter what, it'll also play the reject sound. So for some reason, the box was the only thing that if you pressed F and you didn't have enough points for it, it would just be silent completely. So now it has that little like reject sound. So I'll just do a couple tests. So there's the grunt sound. There's the grunt sound again, or a different grunt sound. There's nothing.
I will have no chance.
Alright, he's complaining about ammo. There's the grunt again.
I will just kill them all with my hands.
There's the wall weapon sound.
I will just kill them
Okay,
all
here it
with
is
my
again.
hands. Why don't I have enough money?
And there's the
It's their fault.
and there's the specific box dialogue. So yeah, like I've been rambling on about, it just gives a lot more variety, and it is kind of dumb when I go up and like press F a bunch to it because it starts to repeat things, but you know, that was already in the original game with the perks, and so that's passable, but I've at least added some variety. to it. Okay, so that's all that. Next up we got the Easter egg Vox changes. So I have slightly increased the percent chances for some of these Easter egg Vox lines because basically what would happen, well there's various Easter eggs in this map that you can do and it'll play dialogue, but it was kind of hard to get them because the percents were so low. And it's, you know, been 10 years, so I think it's... Okay, I'm tired of talking about ammo. Fucking hell. So I just wanted to let the player actually be able to discover some of these Easter eggs. So now the early game random Easter egg line, which actually has no requirement, you just play the game and your character will randomly say this dialogue if it's before round 5. And it's just completely random if they say it or not. I've made that a 3% chance of playing. It's a little bit higher than the original. Next up, this is new. When you pick up a power-up, there is a 3% chance. Okay, he did not say it. I did not expect it. But 3% chance of playing an unused Easter egg power-up line. So, you know, each character says something differently, but they're all the lines are like in reference to Samantha because, you know, she's the announcer when you get a power-up. And that was, yeah, like I said, not in the game, so it's kind of cool to have. And since you're getting so many power-ups every game, I put it to 3%. You know, you got dogs, you got teleporters, and you got the 4 max power-ups per round. So I think in a game you should at least get to hear once or twice of those, 1 or 2 times at least of those lines. And next up is, now after you teleport, there is a 5% chance that you will, I guess I gotta freaking link this, we'll say an Easter egg sick line. So this is also an unused thing. Okay, well it didn't. So yeah, you could hear Richtofen talking. Just each character has like these various sick lines for when after they teleport, they'll say something random. You know, like the teleporter made me sick or whatever. And now there's, yeah, like I said, a 5% chance that they will play an Easter egg related line, and they're all sort of referencing some type of storyline thing. You know, like some of the, I think Dempsey is like starts to reference that he was brainwashed. He's like, I think I remember more than I know, or something like that, or like I don't really remember exactly, but you get the idea. It's just some cool little storyline dialogue that, again, I don't know why they cut. I think they probably were gonna save some of the storyline stuff for future maps, but they never ended up using it. I mean, they used many of the ideas, but yeah, so I included that. What else we got? I don't want to die here, actually. So, next up is, when you interact with an Easter egg item, you now have a 50% chance. So let me show an example. There's a couple of these cork boards around the map, and there's now a 50% chance that you'll say something important or something relevant when you press F on it. So right there I just got the grunt sound, and that's to be expected because it's 50% odds. I believe the original game was like 30, but here's another item. Okay, so I'm getting pretty bad luck, I guess, but we can keep trying. There's another one in here.
This will come in handy.
Yeah, so there we go. There's a little reference to the storyline, and then one more here. Okay, well, I'm getting shit luck, I guess, but you get the idea that when you go up to these things...
The honorable live here.
Yeah, so there you go, there's a Takio quote. That now you will get these a little bit more often, because it's just annoying. You have to, like, restart the game or whatever. I don't even know, like, how...
I will see you once again.
I'm not sure if there's a cooldown on this. I'm like 99% sure there's not. It's one and done. You press F, and that's it. So... that's just a little bit better now, I think. What else? So, when you pack a punch, unfortunately I don't have enough points to do so, but there's now a 50% chance.
I will learn what you teach.
Actually, just keep that in mind that he said that dialogue when I looked at the pack a punch. I'm going to talk about something with that later. But now when you pack a punch, there's a 50% chance that you'll say pack a punch wait Vox. So in Black Ops 1, I'm pretty sure it would play like nearly 100% of the time. basically your character just makes a joke while they're waiting for the pack-a-punch. But in World at War, it was something ridiculous. It was like an 8% chance of playing. And I mean, how many times are you really pack-a-punching in a casual game? Maybe like 5 times, I don't know, 5 to 10 times. And so with those odds, you'd still barely ever get any of those lines. So I buffed that up a bit, so you can actually hear some of their jokes. And now when you also actually link all the teleporters and this door opens, the character will no longer say that dialogue of when they see the machine. And you might think that's counterintuitive because, you know, they're supposed to say something when they see the machine, but most of these lines will reference how they're like unsure of how to open the door. So, you know, it's really weird when you walk up and they're like, you know, we got to get this door open, but the door is already open. So I've disabled that once you actually open it, just to get rid of those weird moments. And your character still does say something when they link all the teleporters. There's a trigger for a Vox that's like, you know, all 3 are linked successful. So that works fine. And then what else? So I've also disabled Vox interactions on solo. Finally fixed this. I don't know why I didn't fix it earlier, but in the original version of my mod, you would sometimes get like random players talking. You get like Dempsey talking a lot when you played as Takio and you kept getting headshots. But I've fixed all of those issues, so it's just the only character on the map is the one that you will hear. Player respawn. Okay, so in that, well, actually, we're almost getting out of the Vox section. I'm gonna try to I'm gonna try to finish talking about Vox before I move on to that. So, okay, the last 2 Vox things that I want to talk about. When you have the Raygun, I fixed the let's see, the upgraded Raygun. I fixed the Vox so it actually plays if you're a certain distance away and you kill a zombie with the Raygun. I guess I'm gonna get pretty far away. You'll now actually say the Vox. It was just a small mistake on Treyarch's part. They only had it for the normal Raygun. Okay, I guess I'm in bad luck because again, all this Vox stuff is just randomly based. It doesn't play it every time. But yeah, it was kind of funny because it would only play it on the normal Raygun, but you know, just a simple fix the conditional statement and add it in to play it for the upgraded Raygun as well. So I guess I just really not doing good today. Still not getting any. Quite unfortunate. Maybe is it you have to be close to a zombie? I forgot. No, I don't think it is. Well, I'll just keep killing with Raygun until I get one of these lines, because it's pretty annoying. There we go, there was one of them. I mean, they're not even that specific to the Raygun, but...
Unnatural death for an unnatural beast.
Well, there we go, that one was specific to the Raygun. But yeah, okay, you get the idea. So you heard 2 of them, so that is fixed. What else? Okay, so on a dog round, which I'll have to wait until I get to, there's now a 25% chance of playing new unused voiceover for killing a dog. So this was something that was in future Call of Duty games as well, like when you would kill a dog, your character will sometimes say something. But in World at War, as with the whole theme of this video, some of the lines were just excluded, or actually all of the lines were excluded. You only get voiceover for dogs spawning in, and so I've just decided to re-include that, and I'll show that off when I get to a dog round. And the reason, yeah, 25% is just so that it's not just repetitive, constantly saying the same few lines over and over, especially because dogs will spawn mid-round on Riese, so it's nice that you don't get that spam, just constant dog Vox. Okay, so that is finally it for the Vox. The rest of this video should be pretty quick and easy. So now I've added a new vision file to the map, so you can already have seen it this whole video, which is that the map looks a little bit more bluish and less like greenish. I just think it looks much better like this. Next up, I've added 2 new animations. So there's a new walking animation. Unfortunately, the zombies are starting to starting to jog. So I don't know if I can find them, but it's just an animation taken from Black Ops 1. It's the one where their hands are like moving around and like really weird circle shapes, like there's like shaking around, like jerking around. It's hard to explain, but if you know, you know. And that's added into this mod. Next up is there's a new running animation. It's much more rare than the other running animations. That only happens once in a while. But I'll just have to show that when you get to a higher round here. And I think it just looks cool. So none of these are new. None of these are new. Okay, well, yeah, I'm just gonna have to wait for random chances to be able to show those off. Okay, another change with zombies is now round 1 and 2 both will always have walkers no matter what. I believe on the original Riese, on round 2 you could sometimes get a couple of these guys going a little faster, and I wanted to just slow down the progression a bit, so 1 and 2 will always have walkers. So that is that. I'm just looking for the animations. No. So yeah, none of these are new, but hopefully we'll find one. Okay. Next up is that... Oh, this guy's running. I've changed how the radio is oriented in here, actually, because I realized that there was another Easter egg in here that I was covering up when it was sideways. So now the radio, as you can see, is on its other side like this, and you can still look at that Easter egg of the little book. So yeah, I mean, I don't think it looks as good to have the radio up this way, but you know, I don't want to exclude stuff that's from the original map. Let's go ahead and kill some of these dogs. Okay. So right there, your time on Earth is over. No more will you hunger for flesh. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, so next up, let's see. So proning out a perk. So I've changed how this works actually. I talked about it, I might have talked about it in a previous video, where I made it so like it didn't give you the wrong amount of points. But it didn't actually work, that feature. After the first time you proned, it would start giving you... like, it just was glitchy. It's hard to explain. I don't even know if I talked about it. But basically, I've had to redo this to fix the issue, which I'll repeat if you've not heard about it, which is that normally when it gives you 25 points for proning, it actually displays as 30 on your HUD because the game just doesn't show the last 10th place or whatever. So it just rounds to the nearest 10th. Let's not die. So that's annoying because you could have like 945 points, but it just shows up as 950, and so you would try to use the box and it wouldn't let you, even though, you know, it looks like you have enough. So I've had to change how it works. And also right here, oh, I just killed him, but that zombie that was sort of following me for a while is the new running animation, but I'll probably run into another one later. So let's go over the proning. So now I didn't want to get rid of the Easter egg at all because it's a great Easter egg. And instead what I've opted for is something that fits the perk machines a little bit better actually. So instead of finding a quarter under the machine, you now can find 10 cents under the machine. You might think, okay, well that's shit, it's only 10 points. But you now have a random chance of either just getting 10, 20, or 30. So it's sort of like you're just finding a couple coins that people would have used to buy these perk machines. So that's the Easter egg now. Okay, so I got unlucky. I only got 10. That's fine. Let's try a jug. Okay, I got 20. Not bad. Got 1. Okay. That kind of sucks. Okay, let's get double tap. I got 2 there. Okay, so I didn't get lucky enough, and I never got the 3 plus 30 points, but you get the idea. It adds some variety too as well, so you know, you never know what you're going to get if you go prone at a machine. That way it's a little bit more like luck based, which I think is fun. You're never really going to use the plus 25 points to actually help you buy something, you know. I mean, but basically each perk, if you go to all 4, it'll guarantee you minimum of 40 points, but more likely you'll probably get like 60 to 80. So I guess it does help in some sense. And yeah, so I talked about that for quite a while, but let's move on. Let's go on to the weapons, okay? So we're going to give ourselves all and just go through this quickly if we can. Fucking hell, we're going to restart. Actually, okay. So I've added effects for when you fire the pistols now, the upgraded pistols. Normally you wouldn't have any fire effect. I was torn between doing the grenade launcher effect and the pack-a-punch effect, but I decided to do the pack-a-punch effect, which is just the pink little burst when you shoot. I think it just looks pretty good. You still get that trail and everything as smoke. And I've also changed some of the balancing. So I don't know if I talked about this in a previous video, but fuck it. You can now shoot the pistols a little bit faster. Not quite the same as the Mustang and Sally, but it's still much faster, which I think, you know, it should be better. It should be a little bit more rewarding. I also slightly buffed the damage because in Black Ops 1 you have 2 pistols and I think a little bit more ammo, I'm not sure. And you basically can do a lot more damage at once, and it also shoots faster and reloads faster. So to compensate in World at War, I wanted to make it, you know, fit a little bit better with the Mustang and Sally and its, you know, usefulness. So I made the damage just like, you know, I think 1.25 or 1.5 times stronger, which makes sense. You know, you only have one pistol, you can only shoot one at a time. So effectively, the Mustang and Sally was twice the damage as this gun, but I didn't want to quite go 2 times damage. That'd be a little bit too much, I think, just compared to the original version. So that's the balance. I've also redone the animation at the end. So just due to the nature of treating this gun like a rocket launcher, the cock, or okay, you couldn't cock the gun properly, basically. That sounded really weird when I said that first. And the slide will not like go back now at the last round. So I'll show that right here. It just shoots normally and then you just reload. And so even if I do a reload like that, obviously. Wait, no, I was thinking of, here we go. So when we get to no ammo, this is what I was thinking of as well. It'll just stay like that. Okay, well I have all of the weapons, so I can't go back to it. But you get the idea. It doesn't have that glitch anymore with reloading. And when you think about it, it actually makes sense because it's like a, you know, if this was a real grenade launcher pistol, you know, it's treated differently than like a normal pistol. It doesn't eject a shell. It just shoots the grenade directly. Now, I don't really know, but yeah. So that's it for the pistols. I mean, actually, I don't even know if I talked about this in my previous video. So I've also added the sound to the pistols. So, sorry, unique sound. So instead of having the generic just rocket launcher sound, it has the upgraded pistol sound for each pistol. So this actually sounds like the Walther with the upgraded little like effect. So that's cool. Again, much more reminiscent of the Mustang and Sally. Also on impact, it has the grenade sound, which is again like the Mustang and Sally. So pretty much all the pistols got an overhaul, and I think that they're much better now. Let's see, is there anything else to talk about with them? No. Okay, so next up, I just missed it on accident. But with the Car 98, small little fix, but I fixed the pack-a-punch effect so it actually has it when you shoot. Little pink flash, so that's cool. We can keep moving. Okay, so the M1 Garand, I've added both variants to the box now, so it's not just the grenade launcher variant. And you might think that's kind of dumb, because no one wants the regular version when you can have the grenade launcher version, but I've done some balancing to them, which I just think makes a lot of sense. Basically, the normal Garand base rifle for both versions is actually slightly buffed in its damage, its multipliers for the upgraded version, and I'm not sure, actually, let's see, I got my list here anyways. Yeah, so the base rifle damage for both upgraded and unupgraded is slightly buffed because, and it's more so buffed for the upgraded version compared to other rifles, but basically, out of all the rifles in World at War, this one should be like one of the best ones, if not the best ones, because it was just a kick-ass gun in World War II. It shouldn't be like the shit gun. Now, I get that it's a wall weapon in Reworked, so it can't be too OP, and that's why the base version just got a very tiny buff. It's not much, and the upgraded version is a little bit better. So that's pretty much it with the damage of the M1. And to compensate with other rifles, I don't know, that's not the right phrasing, but just to work better with other rifles, the M1 is now like a little bit slower, and the M1 carbine got a little bit buff mobility. So it makes sense. The M1 carbine is meant to be like a light rifle that is much more mobile and easier to use than the M1. And I also had to nerf the M1 carbine, unfortunately, because the carbine was just way too OP in the original game. Like, it sounds funny to say it because it's, you know, it's a shit rifle, everyone assumes, but if you look at the damage, it was actually really OP for no reason, and it just had to be nerfed. I believe it was like better than the M1 Grand, even though it's a wall weapon, and the M1 Grand is a box weapon, so it just didn't really make much sense. So I had to nerf that. And what else? Okay, so going back to the rifle version versus the normal one, if you upgrade the normal one, it's going to be called the M1000. That's from the original game, and you couldn't actually get this on the normal Riese anyways, so it's kind of cool. You can get this normal version. It just adds more variety to the box, and the benefit of using this version is you'll get slightly more base ammo. So I can't really show it now because I gave all and it just fucks up the ammo, but you have the normal amount or so, or maybe a little bit more by like one mag, or one clip I should say, of the M1 Grand. And then now if I go to, let's see, it might take a second to find it. If I go to the launcher version, I guess I could do this. So if I go to the launcher version, by default, this one will have slightly less ammo than the normal version, because it just makes sense that you have all these rifle grenades to compensate for. So how are you going to have all that M1 rifle ammo as well? And also, even more so, I've slightly nerfed the mobility of this gun just by a small factor, but you're just a bit slower than when you have the normal M1, which again is just to balance with having the rifle grenade. You know, if you want the rifle grenade, sure, you can take it, but you're going to be a little bit slower and you're going to have a little bit less ammo. Which I think just makes perfect sense. Now if I do go to hold it, it'll now say in the bottom right M17 rifle grenade, which is just the specific type of grenade you're putting on. I think that's just a cool history detail. If we go to the imploder now, this is the upgrade version. It now says M7000 when you equip it, but yeah, so that's pretty much all to talk about with the M1. Let's get to the Type 99 if I can. This video is dragging on quite a bit, sorry about that. Let's keep going, where is it? Okay, so with the Type 99, I have changed the FOV when you aim down sights, because it restricted your visibility way too much, I think. So even now, like, it already still does restrict your visibility, but if we just aim down the sights, I don't know if you can tell the difference, but you can just see a little bit more around you. It's not quite so zoomed in. Out of all the weapons, this one had the highest, the lowest FOV when you aim down the sights, and it was kind of dumb. So I just slightly tweaked that. Then another thing is I did redo the Pack-a-Punch camo for the upgraded version. I got rid of the magazine having the texture like the body of the gun. It's now just the smooth metal, which I think looks a lot better. And I also don't know if I've talked about this in the previous videos, but the Type 99 now actually has the correct sound. It's not the Type 100 sound reused. This is the actual Type 99 with upgraded effects. So that's pretty cool. What else have we got? Okay, so let's wrap this video up. The last thing we have is last stand things. So before I get to that, quickly, I did add the Gavir back to the box, by the way. So now every single box, every single wall weapon is in the box, and just you can get the full selection of weapons, like I said, with the M1. Nothing is left out. Okay, so with the last stand, if I kill myself, you'll see what weapon I get. Okay, so we got the Porter's X2 Raygun. So in solo mode, how it works is the best pistol you have is what it will give you, compared to your default pistol. So in solo, by default, if I go down, it'll give you an upgraded pistol. Sorry, I didn't mean to give all. And so, what is better than an upgraded pistol? Well, only the Raygun in terms of other pistols, okay? So if you have the 357 Magnum, if you have a regular pistol, it's not going to give you that. Obviously, why would it overwrite the upgraded pistol? That would make no sense. So yeah, just a refresher, it gives us this pistol. And now if you're in co-op in the same situation and you down, you're going to have your unupgraded pistol, obviously. You just have your normal pistol. So that means that pretty much any other pistol is better than that. So if you have the 357, it'll give you that. If you have the 357 and the Raygun, well, it'll give you the Raygun, because that's the best out of those options. So it's all in a hierarchy, starting with, I'll just say it completely. So you either have the default pistol, the 357, upgraded 357, the upgraded starting pistol, the Raygun, or the upgraded Raygun. So that's the full hierarchy, and then for solo, it's just the Raygun and the pistol, and again, it factors in the upgraded Raygun. So if you have the unupgraded Raygun, it's gonna give. Well, I mean, I guess it doesn't matter in solo. I mean, or in co-op because you can only have one or the other. But you know, it's gonna give you whichever one you had while you were up. And so with that, I've also fixed the ammo count for all the pistols. In my mod, at least, it was glitched where you would get like full ammo when you were down, and I fixed that. But in the original game, there was still a bug, which was that if you had the upgraded Raygun, I didn't even get myself the perk, but that's okay. Oh, I forgot. This is like that. Okay, so if we down ourselves, you only get one magazine of the Raygun ammo. It originally in the main game would give you like your full ammo, which was a glitch. It just they forgot to include the upgraded variant in the code for this specific case, and so now it's actually balanced. And you know, some players might miss that because you kind of like getting full ammo when you're down, but that's not intentional. So I fixed that, and that's all I'm going to talk about. So thank you for watching. This went on way too long, and I'll see you guys in the next one.